My loving greetings, Vanakkam, Namaste, Prem Namaskar to one and all of you. Welcome to this session on Pranayama or Pranayama, which is the scientific art of mastering the breath. In this session, I'm going to take you through a number of breathing techniques that will help in the control of COVID-19 coronavirus infection. We all need to understand that as long as there is breath in the body, there is life. When the breath stops, so too does life. And the COVID-19 coronavirus does impact on our breathing and our oxygen levels, and we end up being short of breath. And many people have died as a result of COVID-19 infection. So the breathing exercise that we are going to go through plays a pivotal role in the management of COVID-19 coronavirus prevention and control. So we need to understand pranayama is the scientific art of mastering the breath. What we are going to do is go through some techniques in the cleansing pranayama. There are also advanced pranayama, which is highly spiritual in nature, but what we're going to go through is the cleansing pranayama. When the virus enters your mouth or your nose, it tries to get to the lungs and finds a home in the lungs. That's when you end up with pneumonia. That's when you end up with problems in your lungs, and it affects your breathing and your oxygen levels. So we are going to do techniques that will help, firstly, to contribute to the ejectment of particulate matter, that is the smoke particles, dust particles, chemical particles, and the ejectment of mucus and the ejectment of infection, bacterial infection and viral infection from the lungs, the trachea, the bronchi and the bronchioles. That's the lower respiratory tract. So this first technique is known as Purna Shuddhi Pranayama. And to do this particular technique consistently, a number of times during the day, if you are not infected, so if you do get the virus entering your system, you get rid of it. But if you're already infected, it will also prevent the virus from reaching the lungs by constantly doing this particular exercise. So the first technique is to breathe in deeply through your nostrils and blow out vigorously through the mouth. You do this several times. The more forceful and vigorous you blow out, the more you loosen the mucus in the lungs, in the trachea, and with it will be ejected the viruses, the bacteria, and all the particulate matter, dust and chemical particles, including smoke particles. So in that way, we actually cleanse the lungs and the trachea. And we do it regularly, so if any virus gets in, we actually eject the virus as well. So let us start this first technique. Let's all do it together. You're going to breathe in deeply through the nostrils and blow out vigorously. We'll do it together. 1 and out. 2, and out. 3, and out. Okay, the next technique is known as coughing pranayama, where you breathe in deeply through the nostrils and you cough out vigorously. And the coughing also creates loosening of the mucus in the lungs and in the trachea, and also causes an ejectment of the particulate matter and all infections, bacterial and viral infections, from the lower respiratory tract. That includes the lungs, the bronchioles, and the trachea. Those days, there were no nebulizers. So our great-grandparents, what they used to do is breathe deeply and keep coughing. And by keep coughing, they were able to get rid of all the mucus and the phlegm from the chest. And in that way, they were able to keep themselves healthy. So now we're going to do coughing pranayama, and I will demonstrate this to you now. Again, I'm doing. So the coughing effect will get rid of everything from your lungs and your trachea to the outside atmosphere. And the whole idea is not to allow the virus to settle into your lungs. And this will actually ensure that you get rid of it. And if you do it about 3 times in a day, the morning, the midday, and the evening, then you'll prevent the virus from settling in if it does gain entry. So this is a very good technique to manage the infection. So let us all do it together. 1. Now you're going to do it on your own. 2. And 3. Okay, so these techniques will help you in ensuring your lower respiratory tract is kept free of viruses and bacterial infection as well, and gets rid of the mucus and any particles like dust and smoke particles getting entry and remaining in your lungs. We now move on to the next stage, is your upper respiratory tract. When we go to the upper respiratory tract, we will breathe in deeply through our nostrils. The first technique will be blocking your right nostril with your right thumb and blowing out through the left nostril. In this way, you're getting rid of the mucus, the dust particles, and the infection, bacterial and viral infection from the left side. And then you're going to breathe in deeply, block your left nostril, and blow out through the right nostril. Then you clean the right side. So that way we eject all viruses from the nostrils, especially the COVID-19 coronavirus. And so let us do this particular technique. It is known as Atta-Suddhi Pranayama. We're going to breathe in deeply through our nostrils, block your right nostril, blow out through the left. We're going to do that a few times. 1 in, block right, blow left. Again in. Block right, blow left. Okay, let's try it again. Now we're going to move on. We're going to breathe in deeply. We're going to block our left nostril, blow out through the right. Okay. Let's do it together. 1. 2. 3. The more vigorously you blow out, the more you'll be able to get rid of the viruses from your nasal passages, your sinuses, on both sides. So we've done the lower respiratory tract, we've done the upper respiratory tract. But we need to also ensure when we start off with the lower respiratory tract and then move to the higher respiratory tract or the upper respiratory tract. If you do the upper respiratory tract first and then go to the lower respiratory tract, then what happens is after cleaning your nasal passage and sinus and then start cleaning up your lungs and trachea, the infection from the lower respiratory tract will end up settling into the upper respiratory tract. So you must always start from the lower respiratory tract. Another technique that is we need to do also is breathing deeply through both our nostrils, and as you are breathing out, making a humming sound like a bee. And when you make that humming sound like a bee, it creates a vibration in the nostrils. At the tip of the nostrils, we have nitrous oxides. When we breathe in deeply through our nostrils, the nitrous oxide then goes into the back of the nostrils and to the sinuses and destroys the COVID-19 coronaviruses. So it has been scientifically proved that COVID-19 coronavirus get destroyed by the nitrous oxides that are in the nostrils, at the entrance of the nostrils. So when you're breathing out, you're making a humming sound. The humming sound that you are making creates a vibration in the nostrils, and the vibration generates the production of more nitrous oxides. So the cycle goes on. More you do it, and the more you'll start destroying the virus in your nostrils and your sinuses by doing this particular exercise. Breathe in deeply. Let us do it again. Again. Those of you who are familiar with the mantra Om, instead of humming, you could actually recite the mantra Om on your outward breath. It can be done like this. Om. That will also result in the same outcome. So we're now going to move on to another technique. any patient who is infected with COVID-19 coronavirus experiences breathing difficulties, and the oxygen levels also get reduced. To ensure that you get your oxygen levels back to normal, even up to 98, 99, then you do this technique. It will help you to get back to normal oxygen levels. So the technique is breathing in 2 units, like this, and breathing out 2 units. And the critical part of this technique is to pull your stomach in at the second outward breath. So like this. When you pull your stomach in, the diaphragm moves up. The diaphragm is a muscle across. When the diaphragm moves up, the lungs contract and expels all the foul air from the lungs to the outside atmosphere. And subsequently, when you're breathing in 2 units, you take a full supply of fresh air. So this particular technique gives you a lot of energy, it refreshes you, and it is also good for the normalization of your pulse and the development of your heart. It's a technique also that we can do when anyone experiences the classic signs of experiencing an heart attack. You do this particular technique, you can prevent the heart attack. So breathing in 2 units, breathing out 2 units, pulling your stomach in at the second outward breath. So let us all do it for about 5 times. One, two, three, four, and 5. So these are the important techniques that you practice in order to prevent and control the COVID-19 coronavirus infection. But we all need to understand that we must consider ourselves potentially positive for COVID-19, and therefore you do not do these exercises in the presence of somebody else. You must take care not to contaminate any surfaces, and if you do breathe onto any surfaces, ensure that you sanitize the surfaces after the practice of pranayama, and also ensure that you wash your hands thoroughly thereafter. So I trust that you'll take these exercises seriously, especially to prevent COVID-19 and to control it if you are infected. With that, God bless you and enjoy the scientific art of mastering the breath, pranayama. Thank you. God bless.